Hi, my name is Vena. I'm originally from Rio, but I live in Nandi. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Bula, I'm John from Kornabuan, Tafua. I love listening to Today FM. It rocks.
Bula, I'm Teopola.
Bula, I'm Atlisi.
We love listening to Today FM because it rocks in Ba.
Bula, my name is Tisa. I've been listening to Today FM.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Tonight, massive losses for kava industry over the past year. FMPF to make staff redundant. And lawyers fail to show up again in Fiji Times case.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Fiji lost $113 million in the Yangona market due to Cyclone Winston. This means prices over the next 3 years are expected to stay at the existing level due to the time it takes for Yangona plants to reach maturity. That is the main factor affecting the current market prices. Savara Tambor reports.
Kava has become a lucrative cash crop and is in great demand by both local and overseas markets. Agriculture Principal Economic Officer Tulau has confirmed the devastation of the commodity caused by this Winston is having an impact on our export market.
Our assessment highlighted that most of the standing crops were destroyed, meaning matured crop of the 40% that was destroyed. So it'll take quite a while to get back into the steady supply that we are hoping for.
Yangona supplier in the La Group, Josiah Mbeseti Moala, welcomes the current higher prices.
The price of Yangona in the past really affects us, but with existing prices, we are very relieved.
For an exporter to increase, production is one of the area of concern.
Production is an area of serious concern at the moment in Fiji, and we need to focus on improved planting regimes. Some of the developments such as tissue culture and mass propagation of certain varieties of kava are now a consideration with government and the Ministry of Agriculture, which is a blessing.
The National Fijian Quality Standard for kava has been developed to set minimum standards for export kava. This manual has been developed to help address Fiji kava quality issues and raise awareness of these issues with producers, middlemen, processors and exporters. The manual will soon be available to all stakeholders. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
Meanwhile, Fiji has 13 varieties of kava or Yangona which are safe to drink and trade compared to Vanuatu. Pacific Agriculture Policy Project Officer Vili Dhaniongo says with an increased market demand for kava, there is a need to improve the quality of the varieties. The National Kava Standards Workshop this morning demonstrates key cropping methods to meet standards.
We are lucky in Fiji, I should say, as opposed to Vanuatu, is that all the 13 varieties of kava are safe to drink. Whereas in Vanuatu, some of them are unsafe. So there's a two-step process there that's involved, weeding out the unacceptables.
50 employees of the Fiji National Provident Fund will be made redundant in the next 4 months. Chief Operating Officer Chochi Koroi says the FMPF board approved the new structure in its meeting earlier this year, deciding staff numbers will go down from 480 to 430. Koroi says the Ministry of Employment has been notified and due process of consultation with the staff union and the Fiji Bank Employees Union has been done. He says affected positions have been advertised internally to allow staff to apply for their current positions and other new positions that are on offer. Redundancy payments will be offered to those who are not re-engaged. The new structure will be in place by July 1st. Former politician Chosai Wangambatha, who allegedly wrote antagonistic comments about Muslims in a local newspaper, claims he did not instruct his counsel to challenge the caution interview or file voir dire grounds in court. This as his lawyer Aman Ravindra Singh once again failed to turn up in court. Wangambatha, along with Fiji Times publisher Hank Arts, editor-in-chief Fred Wesley, Nailalakai editor Anare Ravula and the Fiji Times Limited are charged with inciting communal antagonism. They all appeared in the Suva High Court this morning. Shireen Shivan reports.
Josiah Wangambatha once again appeared in court this morning without a counsel. This is the third consecutive time his lawyer Aman Ravindra Singh was not present in court. Judge Justice Tushara Rajasinghe said Ravindra Singh's absence from court is hindering the proceedings, and he questioned Wangambada whether his lawyer knew about today's mention, to which Wangambada replied that Ravindra Singh was well aware about it and he had assured him that he will send another lawyer on his behalf. However, there was no one to represent Wangambada in court today. The judge then asked Wangambada to clarify the grounds of voidaya which was filed in court by his counsel. Wangambada said he will not be able to do it as he is not aware about the grounds, neither he instructed Ravindra Singh to do so. The second accused, Anare Ravula's counsel, was also not present. Devanesh Sharma is representing Ravula, who had earlier raised concern to the charges against his client, saying the statement in the newspaper was not a report but the opinion of the first accused. Henk Arts, Fred Wesley and Fiji Times counsel Faisal Hanif questioned the Director of Public Prosecution on the delay in amending the charges. DPP saw 21 days to consider the charges. The matter has been adjourned to March 28th. Shireen Shivan, FBC News.
Still ahead, Northerners show delight with SME grants. And Fiji and Australia sign off on new vehicles.
कमल रोशनी है, हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची FM सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मेसी है, हम गोल्ड टाउन तापुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची इज हॉट इन तापुआ।
Hi, we Bagels. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तापुआ में रहता हूँ, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची FM is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
A national domestic violence helpline will be launched tomorrow on International Women's Day in a first for Fiji in the fight against violence against women. Today, the Ministry of Women formalised the agreements between telecommunication companies who will handle all calls through the helpline free of cost. Maggie Boyle with the story.
Joining hands in a first for Fiji in the telecommunications sector on the eve of the launch of a domestic violence helpline. Fiji Women's Crisis Centre Coordinator Shamima Ali explains how the service will work.
It'll be a 24-hour line, toll-free this time, and there are 3 counsellors at a time.
With all the major telecommunication companies behind the helpline, Digicel Fiji took the lead in handling the technical setup.
We've pushed hard and we've pushed our telco friends hard to provide a zero-cost solution for this organisation. So that means that women across any part of Fiji can all call in and benefit from this advice and help, and none of them need to pay for it.
For Vodafone Fiji, today's milestone achievement is part and parcel of responsible business.
You know, providing that access over the phone kind of provides like a veil behind which they are able to access the service and still make the complaints and access the service and counselling or whatever help they need.
Minister for Women Mereseni Vuniwanga says this is a small step in the larger fight for women in curbing gender violence.
Tomorrow we will be launching our first national domestic violence helpline, but I'd like to talk about the bigger issue of domestic violence and what the ministry is doing in relation to addressing that.
On the eve of International Women's Day and in a rare collective front, the 3 telecommunications companies have come together in the fight against a national disgrace, domestic violence. While the line will be live from tomorrow, the hope is that not only will the service help women and children, but it will eventually save lives. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Over 10,000 more individuals are set to receive their micro and small business grants of $1,000 each this year. Since 2015, 6,613 entrepreneurs have been assisted through the scheme. Eleanor Tharangaivu reports.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade will soon be disbursing MSE grants to recipients whose businesses were affected by Tropical Cyclone Winston.
We had to go through an exercise to ensure that those that we gave the grants to were rehabilitated. We don't want them to fall by the wayside. You know, this government is committed to that particular program. It's one of the Prime Minister's most important programs, and we will support them and get them back up on their feet.
According to Minister Fayaz Koya, the disbursement of grants is being done in stages, with this year's 11,000 successful entrepreneurs to receive their $1,000 later this year.
The ones that we did in Savu, when the number was about 760 that the Prime Minister actually gave out, that was a leftover from the first grant. So next batch will be the rehab that we have to do right the country, and then the new lot which we have, the new applicants that we have. So it's quite an intensive process.
Last week, close to 800 individuals in Savu and Tabioni received their $1,000 grant. It goes directly to the purchase of materials that they have identified as essential to starting or expanding their businesses.
I am going to set up my canteen business in the village to sell some items with assistance provided by the government.
This money will be used to set up my chicken farm because where I live is a good location to market my chickens.
20,000 new applications were received by the ministry this year, but only half were successful. $11.1 million is being set aside by government for the micro and small business grants scheme this year. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Minister for National Security and Defence Ratuinoke Kumbombola has formalised the purchase of 10 Bushmaster protected mobility vehicles from Australia to support Fiji's United Nations peacekeeping missions. Currently in Australia on his first official visit under the defence portfolio, Kumbombola highlighted the importance of Bushmaster PMVs for the safety, security and protection of Fijians serving in peacekeeping missions given their exposure to violence and conflict. The procurement of Bushmaster PMVs will also contribute to humanitarian emergencies to ensure that responses during natural disasters are strengthened. Australia will transport 7 vehicles to the Golan Heights and 3 vehicles to Fiji. The Ministry of Lands is warning companies illegally extracting gravel that they will be taken to task when caught. Teams from the Mineral Resources Department are out in the north and the west dealing with companies that are unlawfully extracting gravel from rivers. Villagers in Boer were complaining to the Prime Minister last week about some companies illegally extracting gravel. Minister for Lands and Mineral Resources Fayaz Koya has warned those caught will be dealt with.
The Lands Ministry is the one that issues the license to extract gravel, right? It is not the Ministry of Environment. The Ministry of Environment does a study, which it's an EIA, which environmental impact assessment that is done. That is not a license to extract gravel. The license needs to be granted by the Ministry of Lands. You cannot extract on that basis until you get it from us. But anybody who is caught extracting gravel from a river will be taken to task.
And later on in sports with Jamie, Tonga here to take down Fiji Warriors in PRC. But next up with business will be Rachel, who will tell us about a new airline deal.
Yes, Jackie, coming up, good news as Fiji Airways has signed a new deal with Jet India. And in growing Fiji, Waimanu Road to undergo major repairs. Stay with us.
I'm from Nekota and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Stanley Godler and I'm from Australia, but I'm part Fijian from Watraki, and I love listening to Today FM Rocks.
For the best music and less talk, we tune in to Today FM in Nasalai Village. Today FM Rocks.
My name is Inai Ali and I'm from Ba, and I love the big breakfast on Today FM. I just love it and hope you love it too.
My name is Jay from La Paz. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM Rocks.
My name is Naushin and I'm from Sambeto, and I love Today FM. Today FM Rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In business tonight, national carrier Fiji Airways has signed a code-sharing agreement with India's Jet Airways. Through this partnership, travelers on both carriers will have access to connectivity between India and Fiji via Singapore and Hong Kong. Jet Airways will place its 9W code on Fiji Airways flights, while Fiji Airways will place its FJ code on Jet Airways services. All code share flights will be allowed through check-in to the final destination of any journey. Code share bookings are open for sale effective from Thursday. Minister for Civil Aviation A.R. Said Kayum described the new code sharing agreement as a boost service to relations between Fiji and India. There has been some interesting movements on the international stock market. Savanatha from HFC Bank brings us the update.
Yes, Rachel. U.S. stocks fell on Monday as the appetite of investors for risk was curbed by geopolitical tensions in Asia. Another factor was President Donald Trump's accusation that his predecessor, Barack Obama, wiretapped him. As of 5:37 this morning, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 0.32% at 20,937.92 points. The S&P 500 was down 0.49% at 2,371.32. And the Nasdaq Composite was down 0.62% at 5,834.3. In Tokyo, the Nikkei share average fell 0.5% to 19,379.14. A little closer to home, our Fijian dollar weakened against the US dollar today by 12.52% from yesterday at 0.4701. When compared to the same period last month, it has weakened by 14.26%. This means higher priced imports for those making payments in US currencies. And back to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Avanava. On to today's exchange rates. The Chinese yuan and the American dollar both dropped to close at 3.24 and 47 cents. A contrast in our regional currencies as the Australian dollar dropped slightly to close at 61 cents, while the New Zealand dollar rose to close at 66 cents. Meanwhile, the PNG kina dropped to close at 1.30. Onto the commodities market, oil dropped by 14 cents a barrel to close at 53.14. Gold continues its upwards trend to close at $1,230 an ounce. Silver went down to close at $17.69 an ounce. Waimanu Road, one of the oldest roads in Suva, will undergo complete rehabilitation next year. Fiji Roads Authority says the aging infrastructure beneath the road has passed its serviceable life as well. Chief Executive John Hutchinson says Waimanu Road has storm water channels and water pipes under the road which are old, fragile and could collapse from the vibrations caused by heavy machinery that will be required for road works. He adds much of the pothole and repeatedly patch services are a direct result of the age and fragile water pipes. Hutchinson says if rebuilding these roads were easy, it would have been done years ago. The chief executive has accepted backlash from the community but says they must endure a little while longer. Funding from the Asian Development Bank and World Bank will be used to fix the road. And that's it from business. Now with the latest in sports, here's Jamie.
Naka Rachel, and good evening. Coming up, visitors eye top honours in PRC. An age-old problem of player availability grips Fiji football camp. Details after the break.
Weo tevita rokuta mai kono kula nrasa lutoka ndoba talenta kana porong na radio Fiji 1.
Bula na rango pina mai korviri nandi au talitaka na porong na radio Fiji 1 na programa ni masmasu na mataklailai.
Oya ochone kurina mbila mai bunangoru na makete hinga toka kwe do talitakini na porong na radio Fiji 1 gena na domoiviti.
Na radio Fiji 1 na domoiviti na bonga ni bienen.
The Telecom Fijiana Rugby side aims to finish in the top 4 of the Women's 7 Series in order to earn direct qualification to next year's World Cup. The current 4th place team on the series arrived from Las Vegas this morning, where they finished 5th over the weekend. Rohit Deo with the story.
The Fijiana Sevens team's dream of finishing in the top 4 of the World Series is on track. The side has been consistent this season, with top 5 finish in the first 3 tournaments.
When we looked at our games in USA, none of our players were given yellow card or involved in any disciplinary issues, which tells me that the girls are in the right path. We just need to keep on improving.
Tima Ravisa was outstanding in Vegas, with Soha take out the performance tracker player of the tournament, a first for any Fijian female player. Ravisa says this has inspired her to do better in coming tournaments.
I was happy when my name was on the DHL performance tracker and also in the dream team. This is something I've always dreamt about since I joined the Fiji Under 7s team, and I'm glad my dream finally came true.
The next leg will be played in Japan on the 22nd and 23rd of next month. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
A Tonga A rugby team packed with experience arrived in Fiji yesterday to stake its claim on the PRC title. The squad of 28 is made up of 19 players based in Tonga, while 5 joined the team from New Zealand and 4 from Australia. Meli Tavanga caught up with the side at training today and filed this report.
As a former Super Rugby captain back in 1997 and 1998, Tongan coach Isi Fatani knows too well how Fijians play on the field.
Fiji's team is a really good team. They got the best quality of boys, and they very, active on attacking and open game. We've been training to how to defend and win.
The Tongan side is looking forward to improve over last year, where they suffered a humiliating defeat against Fiji 56-18.
From last year, it's all local players. And this year we bring some players from New Zealand and Australia. So I think that this year we have a quality players.
Captain Sione Lolohea says they will come out firing on Friday.
Pretty much from last year we were struggling in our set piece, and this year we have worked hard on our set piece, scrum in our lineup, and we're looking forward for because the Fijian team are fast of opening play. But yeah, we're ready.
With 9 overseas-based players in the squad, Coach Fatani is hoping this will give a major boost in the team come Friday. Meli Tawanga, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, Japan A head coach Satoru Endo is preparing his side for an uphill battle in their first match against Samoa A in the PRC this weekend. The side, which arrived in the country yesterday, have been preparing for the last 3 weeks to counter the strong Samoan team. The Japanese side is made up of a number of university students who Coach Endo says have gelled together well despite the short preparation time. The Reds are raring to get its Super Rugby campaign back on track when they take on the Crusaders this week. Fijian Samu Kerevi says his team is disappointed after the 26-19 loss to the Western Force in round 2, but believes while the Force is a respectable team, his side was responsible for the loss.
I don't think it was a reality check. I think we knew that the team was, the Force are a really good team, We shouldn't take any team lightly. But like I said, we didn't play the game we wanted to play. We tried to play too much expensive footy, especially in our half. So I think that's what cost us the game, and obviously, our own performances,
The Reds take on the Crusaders at 8:45 p.m. Saturday, and you can catch the match live on FBC TV. If the last-minute loss to the Crusaders on Saturday wasn't painful enough, the Highlanders are now dealing with a growing injury list. Nearly half of last year's starting team is out as the side looks to avoid its 3rd loss in a row. Vodafone Fiji football coach Christophe Gamel is encountering numerous challenges as he prepares the squad for the World Cup Stage 3 qualifier. With less than 3 weeks until the all-important match against New Zealand, Gamel has been facing difficulties with players committed to other competitions. Rohit Deo with the story.
Making the most of what he has, only 8 players trained this morning while some others were expected to have joined later in the day.
During this week I will let time to others to come because we have problem all the time with leave letter, which is a big problem, and but I am flexible on this, like that I let a bit time for the player to go back for their work.
The team has had similar camps since last December, and assistant coach Tonga Rugby says the players in camp have been doing well.
Are here, they are doing their best in preparation for the first leg against New Zealand.
Another blow to the team is that Lotoka Zibras Sahib and Baz Malakaitiwa have been ruled out. Gamel says the 2 players were important in the style of play he wanted, and it's on other players in the team now to step up.
My player during the game and the type of play that I want, they can apply it. Now I have to restart, maybe change the system because I can't find this quality in other player. So I am in trouble, but it's the work.
Fiji takes on New Zealand at Lotoka's Churchill Park on the 25th of this month. The return leg will be played 3 days later in New Zealand. Rohit Deo, FPC Sports.
More people will be inducted into the Fastenok Hall of Fame at the end of this month. Meanwhile, as a build-up to the event, former inductees are being invited over to Fastenok every week to speak about their experiences. Today, Fiji swimming legend Sharon Smith, who was inducted in 2007, was honored by the Bank of the South Pacific and Fastenok for her contribution to swimming.
I was 19 when we used to have the Olympics at Daventry, so I got my level 1, level 2. That was back in the 80s. And now I'm a silver accredited Australian swimming, under Australian swimming. So, definitely it's important to get your accreditation and learn. Everyone learns something every day. So, so I'm a qualified coach now.
The Suva Cricket Association Local League Final will be played between Ami and Como. In the first semi-final over the weekend, Como beat Mode by 29 runs, while in the second semi-final, Ami beat the Punjabi Tigers by 10 runs. The final will be played this Saturday at Albert Park in Suva. And now to our play of the day. While South Africa is leading the way in the World 7 Series, it's Team USA which is raising eyebrows. This brilliant team try in their Vegas semi-final loss to South Africa makes our play of the day.
That kick just gets the 10 metres. Here he goes, Falau. Quality early touch and pops it nicely off the deck there to Duratalo. This is going to be the dream start for the USA. Hughes was in there, he cleared it for Nua, and then Duratalo helped do the rest.
Andrew Duratalo, fresh from the Sunwolves in Japan, getting the offload. The big beast is back.
That's it from sports. Angie will join you later on with weather, but in our new media segment, find out which mobile devices you can look forward to this year. That's after the break.
I'm under a sort of a of Neabu whenever I want to tune in to listen to great music, I always tune in to my favorite radio station, Gold FM, only the classic.
My name is Lita. We love listening to Gold FM here at the Fiji Hideaway Resort and Spa. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
We here at Kano Waterfront Lautoka love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The world's biggest gadget show has finally come to an end. With innovate releases by some of the tech giants over the week, here's Rachel Nath with a wrap on the World Mobile Congress.
The WMC was nothing but a success. We'll start with the best smartphone as LG G6 took the cake. The water-resistant smartphone is set to take the flagship up a notch. The show had something for everyone, even those on a budget. Motorola Moto G5 Plus. This device is offering great features with reasonable prices. While Samsung did not release its smartphone flagship, it did not disappoint as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S3 took the show by storm. The Tab S3 is designed to be a phone in a tablet, as features from Samsung smartphone flagships have also been incorporated into this gadget. Sony smartphones and projectors, Lenovo laptops and Huawei wearables were also released. However, hands down, the talk of the show goes to Nokia's 3310. The return of this gadget that most of us are very familiar with will be back on the shelves. With its retro features, you can expect some minor changes to this device.
And Angie joins us with the latest from weather.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World.
Wasn't the day just so decent? It was all sunny from the morning till we came to lunchtime and boom, there was rain. Well, at least our washing got dry by the little sunshine that we had. Now let's see what it was like in the west. It was partly cloudy with temps in the lower 30 degrees. Chances of heavy showers by later tonight are high. Eastwards from Pekaba to Suva, it was clear with cool breezes, humid conditions and of course, rain. And up in Vanua-Levu, the day was cloudy and by later tonight expect heavy showers and a few thunderstorms. Tomorrow, it will be much like today, expect sun to shine on us. So yeah, we can do more laundry. But hey, make sure to pick up them from the line before it rains heavily in the evening. For the temps, Suva and Lambasa are in for some heat with highs of 31. Looking further on to Thursday, sunny spells are more likely for the daytime, so cheers to that. But our usual visitor, the mighty rain, will come by in the evening. At sea, northwest winds 10 to 15 knots with moderate seas. And to the tides, the next low tide tonight is at 8:39 with a high tide tomorrow morning at 2:54. So Jackie, I'm pretty sure you made the most of today's sunshine. A sunbath perhaps?
Thanks so much for that, Angie. On Fijian Pulse today, we asked people, is Fiji becoming overexposed to mobile phones?
The parents somehow spend a lot of their time on social medias and the quality time with the kids especially. It's most probably that's why things are happening, weird things that are happening nowadays.
For children nowadays, they're just too exposed to phones. And depends on how you decide. For me, they're the onus on kids rest with parents. We're at the time where the phones are robbing quality time between kids and their parents.
You go to an urban area like Suva, between Suva and Osori corridor, you probably have like one person probably have like one or two phones. Yeah, and even spending time with their family members or friends. Around a grog session, you see them with their phones, Facebook and stuff. Yeah, wake up first thing in the morning, you see them on their phone, check Facebook, Twitter or whatever.
Whenever you walk out or walk around town, you always see people with a mobile phone to their ear or with those earphones everywhere. I mean, 9 out of 10 you count and you see it. And I think it's also dangerous.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, want to move to the USA for work? Well, most rely heavily on H-1B visas. Many lawmakers worry that outsourcing companies are exploiting the system. Recapping the main stories, massive losses for kava industry over the past year, FMPF to lay off staff, and lawyers fail to show in Fiji Times case. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our weekly poll question, this week we are asking, will the new malls opening up create more competition? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, today's shot of the day comes from the north, taken in Motherwata province by Jerry Covert. It shows the sunset in the northern seas, which adds another dimension of beauty to Fiji. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News, or you can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. Until next time, from the team and I, good night.
कमल रोशनी है, हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची FM सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मेसी है, हम गोल्ड टाउन तापुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची इज हॉट इन तापुआ।
Hi, we Badals. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तापुआ में रहता हूँ, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची FM is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.